Okay, now this is the second video clips for the deal flows of venture capital fund. If you just start watching these video clips with contributed capital and preferred return, you must come to this make a whole provision, which is the basic of the fund flows of the profit sharing. First, you have to take a look at and first master this first exercise and then move to the preferred rate. Okay, and so that you can much more understanding. Okay, here the make a whole provision based on LP's contributed capital with a preferred return, right? So LPs want to reserve some percentage of the rate of return from the investment, venture investment. For example, pension funds want to reserve a certain percentage as they require some rate of return. It's different from the discount rate of the GPs, right? So we always have look at this borrowing rate or discount rate for the investor's point of view. Now the pension fund is the LP, right? In this case, so the 6% must be secured in every year, the compounding basis. So preferred return again, as we discussed during the class, LP don't care changes in intermediate value of the company, of portfolio companies. Why? Because it depends on how the GP measures, right, the value of the firms, right? It can be like DCF model or relative method, but still is in the private company. The value or stock price increase in the value of the company is not much kind of reliable, right? So from this preferred return, now the investors LP can be guaranteed with this return. This is LP's beneficiary, minimum required rate of return, right? And then due to the preferred rate, make whole provision is delayed. Why? Because certain percentage is now compound, certain percentage of rate of return is compounded to the NAV, the net asset value of the fund, right? So in order to cover the all the investment, the amount to return with this preferred rate of return. The previous case, we just the sum of the capital cost, 820 in this case, right? In this case, so the make whole point is now include the compounded 8% rate of return to the NAV. You guys understood? Okay. Then the LP's IRR profit will be higher because they already reserved, and then GPs will get the profit sharing later. And then point of, okay, I explained the total contributed capital. Now total contributed capital is the paid in capital, right? With this the preferred rate of return. So let's go. The same process, same structure here. The beginning balance is definitely 0, right? And then plus capital call, and then we put this to money. Now, end of year, what is the amount owed to LPs under preferred rate before distribution? Right, that is actual paid in capital, right? Actual paid in capital. I know is the paid in capital is capital calls, but again, under this preferred return clause, this paid in capital must be measured by the increase in, right, this percentage of the rate. So it must increase 1 plus, right, 6%. 6%. Okay, so I'm going to fix this number, 6%. So 350, right? So amount owed to LPs after the distribution, which is subject to carry. Now, I'm going to just add, even though it's less, because we are going to express as a negative in parentheses. So 350. Now, amount owed here, amount of the GP's carry. No, because we haven't recovered any the paid in capital yet. Now this number is the beginning balance of the second year, which is ending balance of the first year, right? We start from 1. from then on. 300 added. So the sum of these two now is 600. Now also increased by, right, the interest, the preferred rate, 6%, right? Then we have 689 because there's no distribution yet. There's no the provision started, the make whole provision started. Next, the same way, we collect. One more time, this 829 will be increased by 6%, right? Then let me just drag here. This must be 0 yet. And then next we have 875. Then one more time, it must be increased by, right? So here we have 984. That is the very important numbers, right? Very important numbers. From this on, it is increased. From this on, now the preferred rate increased by this, the last number. Now this 500 started, right? For the distribution. Now amount owed here after this, the GP's carry, like this. And then next year, the same way. Oh, the categories, we cannot extend this because this is a given, right? And then next year. Now we want to measure this not increased. Why? Because from year 4, what happened on year 4? Right, year 4 still not fully recovered, but yeah, we need to put the 6%, right? 6% again. Then let's drag. Then there's no amount of GP's carry yet. Again, why? Why? Because 500 plus 360 distribution is still lower than 984 total compounded contributed capital with preferred rate, which is point of the make whole, so new or make whole point, right? And then GP's carry not yet covered, 860 has not yet, right, covered this 984, right? So here is still 0, right? Now let's move to the next. So 153. And then here the same way. And then this 153 definitely increased by the 6%, right? And then we have finally the excess of this 984 amount, right? 984 amount. Again, how to get it? This 162. Now we distribute more money, right? More money. So we have 88, which is the base of the GP's carry, right? So let's now calculate the GP's carry minus 20%, which is given, right? Times from this. So 18 million will be distributed to the GP as a carry interest. Now the last year NA value. This is the last year, the beginning balance of the last year. So net asset value before, how much is this? We have to make sure how much is this. Right, we cannot extend in that way. If we extend this, okay, that means, okay, we have excess amount. That means the net asset value of this fund is 0, right? Because we already fully covered, right? So it must be 0. And then let's just drag the same process. So it must be 0. And then the last amount of this now recovered, and then we calculate in that way. Okay, as we compare the previous case, the GP's carry starting from year 5, right? Likewise, GP's carry now covered like this, right? But here the GP's carry started from year 6, right? 18,229, right? So the preferred rate delayed because the total amount of this provision of a make whole started from year 6 once this preferred rate added to the distribution, right? Before distribution, the paid in capital is 982. It's no longer 820. Okay, let's go to the distribution to LPs and GPs. Distribution to LPs and GPs. How to get it? LPs and GPs for the LPs distribution. There you go. This is 0, right? Now let's drag. But from this, we want to remove negative. And then let's drag. But here, this 2 amount now must, right? Subtracted 18, right? Because 18 is now, right, going to the GP's carry. The same way, we got a 17. How to get it? 1,146 minus 229, the profit sharing to GPs. Now, distribution to GPs of profit sharing. This is again the distribution. Distribution is not the same as the management fee payment, but we will consider the management fee into the cash flows. Okay, the GPs, here we go. Then let's just drag it to the right. Then we collect all this number. Let's make sure if we have the same number from the total the profit or total profit shared. So as you can see, this distribution and this distribution are the same, right? So let's sum up. So we got this total number, total fund distribution and output, right? And then total fund profits. How much is the total fund profits? Here, 2,256 is the total amount of distribution, which is output, right? Output minus what is the input? Actual cash input, 820, right? Then what is the LP profits? Only considered LP. 2009 is distribution to LP, which is the output, LP's output, right? And what was the LP's input? 820. And then LP's share of profit. LP's share of profit must be greater than 80%. Why? Because of this preferred rate increase, delayed the make whole provision, right? By doing so, the GPs get a lower amount of the profit shared, right? So how much is the profit of LP here? And total fund profit is there, and then 82.8%. So it's higher than 80% with the carry interest provision, right? And then definitely GP shares profit must be lower than 20%, right? 20% of total profit, so 17%. Let's also calculate the IRR of LPs, and then this IRR of LPs must have higher the IRR than without preferred rate, in this case 19%. So let's collect one more time these cash flows. You have to take a look at this, all the deal flows in the cash flows at the beginning, right? Here, cash flows to the LPs. Then here, starting from, right, there we go. So minus 330, which is capital calls until year 3. Again, this is the beginning, right? It's not year 4. Yeah, it's year 4, but the beginning of year 4, that means the end of the year 3. And from year 4, 500, which is the same as the time the distribution to LP incurred. And then we got this oldest number. And then cash flows to the LPs. Cash flows to the LPs. Now, definitely we need to consider, right, the 20. How do you get the 20? Where is the 20? 1,000, right? Or let's calculate this. Committed capital, we want to fix times, right, 2%. As a management fee, the cash flows to the LPs, right? Up to years. Oops. We must fix this number as well. Then it must be stopping here on year 6, because end of year 7 there's no management fees, right? But this number must add, this cash flow GP must add 18. And then the last year is 229. Let's calculate the total value over the paid in capital. So total value of LPs is 2, right? Total distribution, total value is 2009, which is sum divided by, right, 820. So 2.5 times. It's slightly higher than 2.4 without this preferred rate. And then IRR must be greater, definitely greater than the previous case. So 20.5%, slightly higher than 90.9%, right? And then the NPV to LPs. Okay, NPV is for the pension fund here in this case with the 6% preferred rate. So when you calculate NPV, we use the LPs discount rate is 6% because they also want to show their the net present value of this investment to the pension fund investors, right? So we use this NPV number from year 1 to year 7, and then let's add the first year. So 695, 55, 59, and then LP has their discount rate as well, right? Their discount rate is, GP's discount rate is 15%. Then let's just drag this plus 20%. Okay, so the point here is when we apply the preferred rate provision clause here, this amount owed to the LPs under preferred rate before distribution must be increased by preferred rate compounded, right? So we want to make sure when is the make a whole provision time. Okay, if the fund start the distribution year 4, year 5, and then the point of the distribution is the point when this 984 fully covered, right? Not 820. You guys understand, right? So this 18 million, the GP's carry is starting from year 6, okay? And then that makes the changes of the LP's share of the profits and the GP's share of profits 80, not 80, 20%, right? Because the carries, the GP's carry, the interest sharing is delayed. Okay, see you in the next video clip. You guys, bye bye.